Hi guys, and welcome to Seiko Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Milifortic model number S089. I received this watch for free. I don't have to send the watch back, but no matter how I get a watch in for review on this channel, you're always going to get my honest opinion every single time. And if by the end of this review you do want to pick one of these up, I'm leaving a couple links down in the video description. One is to the official website, and one is to the official store on AliExpress. The AliExpress one, that is an affiliate link, so if you use that link, I earn a little bit of commission, helps keep things running on this end. I really do appreciate the continued support. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So the price I'm seeing here in the US is $184. And that probably does include tariffs, so be sure to check the price out in your country, but there's a little conversion rate for you guys. The watch comes in the three colorways that you can see here. I really wish they would kind of go all in and copy all the limited edition colors that the Alpinist comes in. If you're going to do an homage of a semi-affordable watch, you need to homage versions that aren't easy to find or are not affordable, and there's plenty of limited edition Alpinist colors out there that people want to get a hold of but aren't willing to pay $1,500 for. So the watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, a screw-down crown, screw-down caseback, 100 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So when a company decides to homage a watch that is not necessarily expensive, okay, $600 is not cheap, but it's also in the realm of, just save up and buy the real one. If you're already dropping close to $200 on this watch, saving up to $600 isn't out of the question, right? So they need to do something better than the original, and I have the original right here. This is my Seiko SPB 121. So they need to do something better than the original, and I have it here to compare it with. So let's see what they do better, let's see what they do worse, and what's different. So I will pop up the dimensions on the screen here, and you can see they're pretty close in size actually. The Milifortic does shave off about 1 millimeter, which is nice on the thickness. They both have 20 millimeter lug width. They're both about the same diameter, and they're pretty darn close in the lug to lug, but you can see the Milifortic, it's got a little bit of a slimmer bezel, has a little bit fatter lugs. The case sculpting on these watches is different as well, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. But yeah, you can see the 1 millimeter in thickness really doesn't translate on wrist. I feel like the Seiko, pulling their magic on their cases, I think it just wears just as good, if not better, than the Milifortic does. It's definitely a more comfortable case, and yeah, I mean, they just nailed the case on the Seiko. The Milifortic is not bad at all, but yeah, it's just something a little bit different. So yeah, they're not 100% clones of each other. There is little differences here and there, and we'll get to all those here in a little bit. But I'm going to go outside right now and throw the Milifortic on wrist so you can see how that looks. And here we are on my 7.5-inch wrist, and as you can see, I think it wears good. He's got nice turn down to those lugs there, so it hugs my wrist nicely. I don't think it wears significantly thinner than the Seiko does, but it does wear very nice, very comfortable as well, so no issues with that. I feel like it has a little bit more wrist presence than the Seiko does, but not much. Yeah, I do like the way that this thing wears. I like the way the indices and the hands catch the light and everything, but you can see here, legibility is not this watch's strong suit. So just something to be aware of. The Seiko's better in that regard, but I do like the way that this thing wears. And here we are in a little bit of sunlight there, so you can see a nice sunburst dial there. Air coating, it's okay on this watch, not the best, but far from the worst as well. So yeah, I do like the way that this looks. I like the way it catches the light. Yeah, looks good. Let's go throw it on some straps though. And here we are. My favorite cut to size FKM straps. This one got a little bit of texture to it. In my opinion, this is the one it should have came on, or something very similar to this one. It just looks and feels a whole lot better in my opinion. I'll leave the link for these down below so you can pick one up yourself. Next up, we have the suede strap that was on the Alpinist. Really love this strap. I think this color combo looks good. Sadly, you cannot buy this strap anymore. So sorry to tease you if you really like this one. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys a glimpse of what a brown suede strap would look like on this watch, and it looks really, really good. We got some pass-through straps for you. So this is a Sifu nylon strap with one layer underneath the watch there, and it's still sitting very nice. Yeah, I like the way that this thing wears on this strap. I think it looks good. Yeah, it looks good. What else is there to say? And lastly, here we are on a CNS watch band's nylon strap, just a normal nylon strap, so 2 layers underneath the watch there, so you can kind of start to see it sitting off the wrist a little bit, but still wears very nice and very comfortable. I figured the red, kind of bring out the red accents in the dial. I think it looks good. What do you guys think? All right, let's go back inside and let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing. So case finishing on this watch, very similar to what you get on the Seiko. The case is a bit different as far as the shape goes, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But the finishing itself, it's done the same way. So we have a polishing on the bezel there, polished on the crown guards. We have polished sides here. We have brushing on the tops of the lugs. Everything on this watch is done very nice. I've got no real complaints. The transitions are nice and crisp. The brushing is nice and consistent, and the polishing is also nicely done. There's no real waviness to it or anything like that. So yeah, pretty happy with the case finishing on this watch here. We do have a signed Milifortic crown here for the main crown, and unsigned non-screw down crown here for the internal rotating bezel. This one easier, or a little bit more difficult to turn, which is a good thing. This Seiko constantly gets knocked out of alignment, as you can see here. The north is at like a little bit around 1 o'clock. This one has been in the same spot since I got the watch, so pretty happy with that. The case itself, it is very nicely sculpted, as you can see here. There's nice turn down to the lugs, but it's a very kind of flat side on it. There's no real contouring going on at all. This bottom edge here is like a sharp corner. It's not sharp. It's just a little bit sharper than what you see on the Seiko, which we'll put up here in just a second. But flipping it over to the case back here, we have a simple screw down case back. I like this case back. There's no sharp edges on this, simple notches there. It's a good case back, no real issues there. But the Seiko, they just do it better in my opinion. I think the brushing is done a little bit nicer. The polishing is right on par, but you can see they've got a lot more sculpting going on with this case. You know, Seiko, they always do some sort of magic with their cases, and the cases that they use are just awesome. Nice big chamfer right there on the top. The side here is a little bit rounded, and then the bottom here has also got a nice big rounded chamfer that runs along the edge of it. So it makes it wear a little bit thinner, you know, just under 13 millimeters for the thickness on this watch, but it wears just as good, just as thin as the Milifortic does, in my opinion. And because it's so soft on this bottom edge, I think it wears just a little bit more comfortable. This one does not have a signed crown. I think the new ones might actually have a signed crown. I'm not sure. This crown here got a little dimple on it, which the Milifortic is missing. This one is a little bit shorter too, as you can see, putting them up side by side here. The Seiko crown is a little bit more small. Yeah, it's just a little bit easier to turn though. This one gets knocked out of alignment all the time. We do have a display case back on the Seiko though. It's mineral crystal, but the case back itself, it's fine. It's just nothing fancy. But I will give the nod to Seiko for the nicer case design and, you know, keeping up with Milifortic as far as the finishing goes. So, yeah, I like both of the cases. I just like the Seiko case a little bit more. All right, so let's talk about the crystal. We're going to test both of these for sapphire here, so you can see sapphire, sapphire, Cyclops, sapphire, and sapphire. So we do have flat sapphire crystals on both of these watches. The crystals are actually pretty good. Again, I'm going to give the nod to Seiko. They just have a little bit better anti-reflective coating. You can kind of see right here. Yeah, the crystal on the Seiko is just a little bit nicer. The Cyclops, both sapphire. The Cyclops on the Seiko, really nice and tiny, matches the date window perfectly. The one on the Milifortic, just a little bit oversized there, magnifies nicely, has some blue anti-reflective coating on it. I don't see anything wrong with either of these. But yeah, the Seiko definitely has a nicer crystal, and you can see here, Seikos and the Milifortics, just simple flat crystals, and they both barely sit up above the bezel there. So yeah, nice crystal on the Milifortic. It's just not as nice as the Seikos. All right, so getting to the dials, and we'll talk about the bezel here as well. So you can kind of see already, let me get the Seikos aligned here. So I have the north at 12 on both of these. And we'll talk about the alignment. So the Seiko is misaligned, and you can see how far off the south is there. As opposed to here. This one is much closer, so I give the nod to the Milifortic there. The Milifortic internal rotating bezel is also a little bit more difficult to turn, which is a good thing. This one hasn't been knocked out of alignment at all. This one gets knocked out all the time. So, and then on my model here, you can also see the dial itself is misaligned. You can see the minute track here a little bit wider than it is on this side, so my whole Seiko's dial is shifted towards the 9 o'clock position. I don't see that same misalignment on the Milifortic, so alignment goes to the Milifortic, which isn't really a surprise. The applied indices, they're done nicely. I've got no real complaints with them. I think they do kind of catch the light a little bit better, or a little bit different than the Seiko does. The Seiko uses kind of more rounded numerals, while the Milifortic has more flatter numerals and indices. It's the same basic setup and layout, as you can see, but yeah, just done a little bit differently. I think the Seiko does it a little bit better. You can kind of see those indices a little bit better in all lighting conditions. So you can kind of see how the Milifortic is kind of vanishing here. You can still see the Arabics and the applied indices on the Seiko. The branding, Milifortic, I know a lot of people don't like the Milifortic branding. It doesn't bother me, but the Seiko branding here, applied logo, looking great. And then we have our depth rating down here at the bottom, 100 meters on the Milifortic, 200 meters on the Alpinist. The handset is a little bit different, as you can see here. The cathedral hands, it kind of carries the same theme, but the cathedral hands on the Milifortic a little bit elongated, as you can see there, looking at the hour hand. And then the minute hand, very similar in shape and size, but the Milifortic is fully loomed, where the Seiko is a little bit skeletonized. You can kind of see it once the second hand gets out of the way. So just little details there. I do appreciate and like the Seiko hands a little bit more. The second hand looks to be pretty much identical, except for the counterbalances. They're a little bit different, as you can see there. But we're getting a very nice sunburst black dial on this model. I've seen the green one. The green one is kind of, it almost looks like it's somewhere between the SPB 121 and the old SARB 17. So yeah, it should be a very nice green color. I just wanted something black, I guess, so I went with this one. But I think the dials on both these watches are absolutely gorgeous. The Seiko is obviously the OG, and I think they do execute it just a little bit nicer as far as the design goes, and the layout and the applied indices and all that stuff. But Milifortic definitely nails the alignment on this watch. So yeah, I like the dial on it. The Lume, let's talk about the Lume. So people rave all the time about Seiko Lume. The Lume on the Alpinist is not impressive at all. I'm going to pop it up against a couple other watches in the collection. You can see here the Alpinist does beat out the Milifortic. A little bit disappointing on the Milifortic. Usually they have really good Lume. This is not the case. Yeah, the Lume on the Seiko is not great. I rate it like a 5, maybe out of 10. You can see that both of them just get destroyed by the Chronos. But yeah, the Lume on the Milifortic, a little bit disappointing. I kind of hoped that it would at least match the Seiko, but it doesn't. All right, so let's talk about the movement. So the movements are fairly similar as far as the specifications go, but the Seiko wins here with its 60 hours of power reserve. So the Seiko is using the 6R35. We have the NH35 here in the Milifortic. So they're both 21,600 beats per hour. They both hack, they both hand wind, they both have bidirectional winding rotors. This one here, the Milifortic, has a roughly 40 hours of power reserve. You get an extra 20 hours on the Seiko. But besides that, they are functionally the same. They act just the same, they feel the same, and they look pretty much identical as well. So yeah, the operation of the crown here, 3 o'clock screw down crown, I'm going to give the nod to the Seiko as well. A little bit smoother on the screw in and screw out. It does give you a little bit of a pop out here. First position is your hand winding, feels the same as the Seiko. Second position changes your date window here. Everything seems aligned, and we do have a nice color matched date wheel, which is nice to see. Third position hacks the movement, and this is where you set your time. Everything functions as it should. So yeah, really no complaints as far as the movement goes, kind of what we expected. I kind of wished to see a high beat movement in this watch, but unfortunately that's not what we get. All right, so let's talk about the straps on the watch. So this is obviously not the stock strap. The stock strap on the SPB 121 is this dark brown alligator croc style strap with a decent point buckle, I believe. It's been so long. I actually took that strap off, put it in the box, and I never wore it because the strap is just terrible. It's deplorable on a $600 watch. So yeah, I don't like the straps on either of these watches. This is the nicer strap though. This one is actually wearable. It's comfortable. I just don't like the look of it. It doesn't kind of go with this design. I think just a simple, smooth black strap would have been a lot better on this one. This reminds me of, this old Seiko divers. So when I see this, I think dive watch. And it is definitely comfortable. It's an FKM material. It breathes nice. It's got decent hardware as well. So I do give the nod to the Milifortic when it comes to the strap. It has a quick release as well. I just don't like the strap. It's 20 millimeters, tapers down to 18 millimeters, but yeah, it's fine. It's comfortable. I just don't like the look of it on this particular watch. So there you go, guys. You're going to have to really ask yourself how badly you want the Alpinist and how much you're not willing to pay the prices for them. So I was lucky enough and I picked up the SPB 121 used off of eBay for $310. Kind of makes it a no-brainer to go for this watch. However, since I've done that and I went back and I started looking at these are close to like $500 now. So yeah, I'm not really sure what changed, but yeah, these are about $500 and they retail about $550 to $600. So yeah, it's 3 times more expensive than this watch is. So yeah, there's something to be said to get the original. Just save up for the original. I do think it's a better watch. I think the case finishing and the case design is better. You're obviously getting the brand. You're getting a better movement as well. And yeah, I don't think the Milifortic does anything that much better to warrant this watch. It's a very nice watch. Don't get me wrong. It's a very nice watch. If you buy the watch, you're going to be happy with it. But, it's got the better internal rotating bezel. It's got better alignment, color match date wheel. But that's about it. The crystal isn't any nicer. The case isn't any nicer. The strap, I feel like you're going to want to change both of them. The movement isn't nicer. The Lume isn't any better. So, yeah, there's just, I don't know. There's not a whole lot in this Milifortic to me. I think it's a fine watch. I think it's a good watch. And if you buy it, you're going to be happy. There's nothing wrong with the watch. It's just at this price point, you kind of want to just save up for the real deal. So, yeah. Now, if Milifortic comes out and they give us a light blue dial or a gray dial or a red dial or, some sort of different, those limited edition colorways that are impossible to find or cost $2,000, then yeah, there's definitely something to this watch. But as it sits, I don't see a whole lot to make me want to get this watch over the actual Seiko. So that's just my take. If you want to pick this one up, there will be links down below. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next one.